Hello and welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today I have another episode of Easy to Embellished where we make 3 cards, getting fancier each time, and I'm going to be featuring this birthday greeting stamp set. As you can see, I've been putting this to lots of use and I've got some staining on my stamp sets, but it is in this current November-December catalog. Here is a little bit clearer look at that stamp, and they have some fun samples here of what they've done with it. I love that little birthday tag there on the left. There are so many sentiments that are great for both inside and outside of the card. So I have 3 ink colors, Sage, Canary, and Pansy. And we're going to start with card number 1. Now this is my simple card and it's going to be mainly stamping. I'm turning my mat over to use that foam backside, and I have my candle placed on a small block. I'm just practicing a few times to make sure I'm happy with the way it's stamping. And then I'm going to vary my colors. Now I'm going to clean this off because I'm going from a dark to a light ink. And now I'm also staggering the height each time I stamp the candle. I just thought it was kind of fun rather than going straight across. And I'm just repeating that color palette each time I stamp my little candle border, and again varying the height each time. And there you have it. I think that turned out pretty good. Now I have this blending brush that I ordered off of Amazon. I just wanted to try them out. And I'm using this Sage ink, and I'm just putting a little kind of the blended spot of the ink in the center here where I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Now you can do this with sponge daubers and then the sponge pieces. It just takes some getting used to. I find that this does go on lighter and it's a little bit easier to control the color, but you can get this look with the sponges as well. So I'm stamping my sentiment in the Pansy ink, blowing birthday wishes your way. So I'm ready to adhere my card panel to this sage green cardstock here, and then we will put it on our A2 card base. I did find it best to apply your sponged ink first and then stamp the sentiment on top of that. If you do it the other way, I noticed it kind of smeared the sentiment just a little bit, and you want a nice clean look. So this is a little strip of pattern paper from the Mix-Ins paper packet from our fall catalog. And I just grabbed that paper packet out and I wanted to use it up, so I will be using bits and pieces of it on these cards throughout today's episode. So here's card number 1. Super simple, came together very quickly, but I love the way it turned out. So for card number 2, we have our multi-windows die, and then this is brand new. It's part of the Stitched Brackets die set, and that'll be available starting January 1st. And what I'm going to do is just quickly repeat the inking process on my scrap of the White Daisy. I'm again using the Sage ink, and I'm just making a little backdrop for my sentiment. And I'm going to use the same birthday wishes, or blowing birthday wishes your way, in the Pansy ink. And now we are ready to cut that out with our stitched bracket die there. I'll just tape that into place so it doesn't move around on me. And now our multi-square windows, I'm going to cut the Sage cardstock with that. So you can see that really nice stitch detail around the edges of this, and also that multi-square background. Now nothing goes to waste, so I'm going to stamp a few candles around the edge. We're going to fussy cut these out, so I just thought, why not use this White Daisy paper that is left over from cutting out our stitch bracket frame. So I need 3 candles, so I'll just cut those out off screen just to save time. So this is really fun. This is our Celebrate Embossing folder. It will be available also starting January 1st. And I've gone ahead and ran a piece of the wisteria cardstock through my die cutting machine. And here is that Mix-Ins paper pack that I'm trying to use up. And so it's hard to see, but that's a polka dotted pattern paper there. So I'm just cutting off a 1.5 inch strip from that embossed panel in the wisteria, and I'm going to dovetail the edge and we'll be using this on card number 2. So we pretty much have all of our pieces. Here is a zip strip I'm going to incorporate, and then I have my little candles that I fussy cut out. So we have our A2 card base ready to go, and then I'm going to use my tape runner to adhere this patterned paper. It's just got a really pretty soft, the wisteria polka dots against a white background. And then I'm ready to apply our multi-square stitch die. And I'm going to use a little bit of glue in the corners just to make sure I have good coverage and I don't want that lifting up on me. So we'll just put that into place, and I love all the detail and interest this adds. And now we're ready to incorporate our banner, and I like to use glue. Whenever you emboss something, there's less contact with the paper, so it's good to use a strong adhesive to make sure that stays in place. And then we will put just a trim of this white daisy and wisteria zip strip, again dovetailing the edge there, and we're just creating some layers here. And I'll put that right down the middle. And now we're ready for our sentiment here in the center. And I thought about popping this up on dimensional adhesive, and that would look really nice, but my candles are kind of gonna go around the edges, and it would have been difficult to put dimensional foam behind those because they're so tiny. So I'm just kind of playing around with where I want the candles, and on my first card I made, I used a smaller sentiment and had room for all 3, but I think I'm just going to use 2 on this card. And now I'm going to add a little interest to the flames. If you had gold, that would probably be better, but I have the silver handy and I think it looks nice, so just putting a little of the silver stickles. And now I have the silver glitter gems, and I'll add 3 of those to the top area of my sentiment, just to kind of add a little sparkle and balance out the silver in the candle flame that I put on with the glitter gel. I think that kind of ties it in nicely. Okay, so here's my card, and I love the way that came together. And this is the first one I made. You can see I used happy birthday and had room for 3 candles across the bottom instead of the 2. And I like the way both of them look. I think it's a really fun card. So in the inside, because this is card number 2, we're dressing it up a bit, I've stamped celebrate and repeated the candle pattern across the bottom there. Okay, for card number 3, I thought we'd mix it up and I'd use the julep cardstock. This is our color of the year and it's very pretty. And I've gone ahead and used the stitch bracket to cut out the glacier, and we'll also be using our circle. So I want to add multiple colors of ink to this stamp, so I am going to mask it. And what I did is just press my fingernail in, and that kind of showed me where to cut this, and now it fits perfectly under there. And you can do this on a block, but just to make sure, since I have a stamping platform, I'm going to use that to ensure that my stamping turns out really nicely. That way I can re-ink it and do it again if it doesn't quite go right the first time. So I ink it up, remove my mask, and then press down to get the top color. And that turned out pretty good, but I'll do it one more time to make sure it's nice and crisp. And then we are ready to ink the middle. So I'm going to clean that off and apply tape. Again, I'm just using my fingernail to crease that in there. And I've inked it in our sapphire ink. And I'll repeat that, and then I will just have to do the bottom. You can cut your stamp up. You know, a lot of people do that. I'm not a huge fan of that, but you know, it's okay. It doesn't hurt it in any way, but to me, masking is easy and it keeps the stamp intact. A lot of people feel you get more mileage of your stamp because you can use it differently. So I don't know. Do you guys prefer this way, or do you guys do stamp surgery and alter them? Let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm just being a little bit of a chicken. So I'm going to use the large stitch circle die and tape this into place. So I have my sentiment there, blowing birthday wishes your way. It's hard to see the canary yellow on the bottom. It doesn't stand out as well as the other two, but in person, off camera, it stands out enough, and I think it's kind of the color works. So again, here is a piece of that cardstock from the mix-in paper pack, and I'm adhering it to a strip of this saffron. I thought it'd be fun to bring out that saffron color from this striped paper. I'm going to cut my bracket right down the middle, and now instead of a square, we're going to make it more of a rectangle, so we can have it poke out the top and bottom a little bit further than if it were one solid piece. So I'm just going to glue those into place there, and now I can tack this down. I'll have all the measurements in my blog, so be sure to refer to that if you want to know how to cut these projects. And here is a strip. This is the sapphire paper, and I've cut this. It's 9 inches long. You could do this with a ribbon as well, and that would be really pretty. I just didn't have this color in a ribbon handy, so I'm using paper, and it's going to give us the same look. So I've just kind of folded it back and forth there, and we're going to secure it down with some dimensional foam. I'll put this on the back of my sentiment, and then I will remove my little protective tabs. I'll adhere it to my faux ribbon here, and then I can apply glue to the backs of that and just get it centered right in the middle of my stitched bracket there. And voila, I love the way that looks. And I'm going to put a little banner piece up at the top corner. I think this card looks great as on its own, but I had these pieces laying right there, so I thought, why not? I'm layering up the stripe pattern paper. This is the back side of that, and I'm just using a little strip of that same paper I put behind my sentiment. I said that was sapphire. Actually, this is outdoor denim, which is a retired color, but the sapphire would be very, very similar. And now I just want to draw that gold color up a little bit, and these adhesive back sequins were the closest thing I had, and so I put a few of those at the top, and there is my finished card. So let's go ahead and bring all the cards out just so we can kind of recap and see what we created here. There's card number 1, super simple stamping, came together nice and quick. And then card number 2, where we decorated the inside and then we incorporated the different die cuts. And then we just saw card number 3 with that fun, beautiful embossing folder. And here is a little different variation. I just changed up the pattern paper and did a little bit more colors on the inside. And we have the 3 candles coming up out of the little ribbon bow there. And then this one I used the candle stamp to create a patterned paper and then a strip of the embossed wisteria across the bottom there. So I love the way these turned out. You can never have too many birthday cards on hand. And this is a really fun stamp set. It's great for the inside and the outside of the card. But just a reminder, it is only available through the month of December. But maybe you have something in your stash that you can recreate these cards with as well. So be sure to check out my blog, craftyconceptswitherin.com, for all the measurements and instructions to create these cards. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing so you don't miss what's coming up next week. If you ever miss ordering an item that you really liked from a catalog, but the catalog is over, be sure to check the online section of my store under shop, and then you go down to online only or clearance, because oftentimes you will find those items from the previous catalog there. So you get a second shot if you missed it the first go round. Thanks again for watching. Here's another video you might enjoy, and I'll see you next time.